Where do you stand on the subject of Jeffrey Epstein? Did he kill himself? Did somebody else kill him? Is he even dead? And I'm just asking these questions because more and more files seem to be coming out. And a lot of people claim that this guy is a super important guy. That's why everybody's paying attention to this. And now the Daily Mail has come out with this. Epstein jail guards used fake body to trick media waiting outside the prison while the pedophile's real corpse was loaded into a van unnoticed, according to these new files that have just come out. We're going to go over this, but it's my job, I feel like, to uncover every stone, to ask as many questions as we can so that we can get to the bottom of the truth. Truth is elusive. There are so many people who are willing to lie, to sell their souls for fame, for clicks, for whatever, that it's really difficult to determine what the truth is. And there's always a war against the truth. As a matter of fact, the first casualty in any war is the truth, including the information war. So we're going to go over this. The Daily Mail says that jail guards overseeing Jeffrey Epstein used a decoy body to mislead reporters gathered outside the prison after his death, while his real corpse was secretly removed in a separate vehicle. What if the body that was moved in that separate vehicle wasn't actually a corpse, but it was the live body of Jeffrey Epstein? Just a question. According to an internal memo, a jail supervisor told FBI agents that staff at Manhattan's Metropolitan Correctional Center, that's the MCC they're always talking about, staged the ruse amid an intense media presence following Epstein's apparent suicide in 2019. The files allege that boxes and sheets were arranged to resemble a human body and loaded into a white van marked as belonging to the office of the chief medical examiner, prompting reporters to follow it as it drove away. Unbeknownst to the media, Epstein's actual body was instead placed into a black vehicle that left the facility unnoticed, allowing officers to transport the corpse privately. And a lot of people are saying, yeah, that other vehicle may have transported Epstein's body, but we don't think it was a corpse. And you've seen the videos, you've seen the side-by-side picture analysis of the guy that they wheeled out and Jeffrey Epstein side by side, and the ears look different. The nose is flatter on Epstein. It's not so hooked. So isn't it possible that they protected this guy? He's in some kind of witness protection program and he's living his best life in some other country somewhere, maybe Israel. The alleged deception was carried out after an official warned guards about the number of journalists gathered outside the jail and said that he would arrive at the loading dock with a separate black vehicle to remove the body. The records also reveal investigators, and we'll look at some of these records here in a second, highlighted a handwritten note found inside Epstein's cell at the time of his death, which was not treated as a suicide note by the medical examiner. The note, which investigators said was difficult to read, appeared to list grievances about jail conditions, including complaints about food, showers, and bugs. The caption under this picture notes, prison guards were alleged to have used a decoy body to distract reporters gathering outside the jail as Epstein's body was transferred to the office of the chief medical examiner. Here are some of the files that the Daily Mail has drawn its information from. And they say the records include a tranche of 3 million newly released documents describing how officers responded to heavy media presence outside the jail in the hours after Epstein's death. After Epstein was pronounced dead at the hospital, his body was returned to federal custody at the prison while arrangements were made for its transfer to the office of the chief medical examiner. One interview note states that because of the large media presence, staff devised a plan to thwart reporters as the body was removed. I'm sure they left it up to staff to make that very important, vital decision. If Jeffrey Epstein is as important as a lot of people, or was as important, you pick it. If he's as important as people say he is, I'm sure a whole lot of people in the higher echelons were making the decisions, not jail staff. They say, according to the document, officers used boxes and sheets to create what appeared to be a human body. Why didn't they just get a dummy? which was put into the white OCME vehicle, which the press followed, allowing the black vehicle to depart unnoticed with Epstein's body inside. Other sections of the records describe how officers were stationed at a secure facility linked to the prison where Epstein's body was guarded while fingerprinting and other procedures were carried out ahead of its transfer. They have CCTV video imagery of the activity inside the prison minutes after Epstein's body was found. They say he was found unresponsive in his cell early that morning by prison guards after they tried to perform CPR. He was rushed to the New York downtown hospital where he was pronounced dead. And I've got a short list right here of why people are skeptical of whether Epstein killed himself or not, or whether he's even dead. One of those being the cameras were mysteriously down. The 2 security cameras directly in front of his cell malfunctioned that night, producing no usable footage. The guards failed to check on him. The 2 assigned guards fell asleep for hours, didn't perform required 30-minute checks, and falsified logs to cover it up. That's a little weird. Removed from suicide watch too soon. Epstein had been on suicide watch for an apparent attempt weeks earlier, but was taken off of it shortly before his death. And this would go against what many would view as basic protocol for such a high-profile, at-risk inmate. And then there's the autopsy and forensic dispute. They hired pathologist Michael Baden, who claimed that the neck bone fractures were more consistent with homicidal strangulation than suicidal hanging. And the official New York City medical examiner says the exact opposite. So my question is, if Epstein is really alive, then what about this testimony from Michael Baden? Is the guy dead? Is he alive? Was he killed? Did he commit suicide? Then there's the physical implausibility in the cell. Some former inmates, including one who occupied the same cell, insist the setup, low bunk, no high anchor points, made hanging himself extremely difficult or impossible without help. Powerful connections and motive. Epstein's ties to the elites like Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, and claims that he had compromising information fueled beliefs that influential people wanted him silenced to prevent testimony about sex trafficking or blackmail, which would be kind of weird because if you're an influential, high-profile guy like Epstein was, or they claim Epstein was, seems like you would have a dead man switch where you got a little insurance policy in case some of those higher-ups decide to off you. Well, as soon as you're dead, if you don't make an appointment somewhere, or if you don't get to a particular location, meet some people, punch in a code, well, then all these files will be released, and that won't be a good thing for you. So for the sake of personal preservation and survival and reputation, those influential people would be disincentivized to off a Jeffrey Epstein. And then there's the general jail negligence, which lends to the cover-up feel. You got the widespread MCC staffing shortages, procedural violations, and the sheer number of coincidences make the official story seem implausible to a lot of people, even if investigations by the FBI, DOJ, and OIG found no evidence of foul play beyond gross incompetence. Speaking of gross incompetence, have you seen what's going on with the FBI and the DOJ these days? So there is an admission on these files that they moved Jeffrey Epstein's body in a different vehicle, where the mainstream media and other media outlets thought that this vehicle was taking Jeffrey Epstein's body, and yet it ended up being a black vehicle heading in the opposite direction. Do you think this is important? What do you think happened to Jeffrey Epstein? Did he off himself? Did somebody else off him? Do you think the guy is still alive? If you think he's alive, do you have any proof for that assertion or for that belief? Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. This is pretty interesting, and they've really worked this character up to be something probably bigger than he actually is. But I have no doubt that there's some serious, shady, disgusting crap going on behind and in front of the scenes. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you like these videos, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification icon. And if you want, become a channel member. That would really help us out a lot. And take a look at this video that's recommended to you right now. That'll help combat the YouTube algorithms against us. I will see you in the next video.